stream commentary for Hive for the Mind Sports Olympiad today, the 5th of August. My name's Chris, and I'm joined by the excellent Randy. Randy by name, Randy by nature. No, that was a terrible joke. Randy, would you like to say hi to our friends?
Hi, fans. Glad to see you this afternoon.
We have, I'm actually quite excited about today's tournament because for the very first time, we have all bugs, but no tournament opening. And I think that this is a first in all of competitive Hive gameplay. Could you tell me a bit more about that, Randy?
Absolutely. Back almost 12 years ago now, we determined that if you don't have a rule that keeps you from playing the queen as your first piece, both players will play the queen early. They'll end up right next to each other, and you end up with a lot of draws. So they implemented the tournament opening rule at most tournaments, which means that you can't play the queen first. The tournament that was played on Saturday was played with those rules. It was a very exciting tournament. Quadlibet Christian Galeas from Chile was the winner. But today's tournament, same situation with all of the expansion bugs. So all three expansions are being played, but no tournament rules. So players can open with the queen if they would like to. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any increase in draws or how the play goes with players that choose to open with a queen.
Well,
so that's the difference between the regular opening and tournament opening.
We're going to be really curious to see about this new queen rule, how it changes the metagame, whether we are going to see everyone play queen first, or if it is slightly better to play queen later. Of course, the rules generally say you cannot play a queen later than turn 4. I wonder if we're going to be. We'll see how the players interpret this, and it's kind of exciting to see them interpret this in real time. Now, today's tournament is going to be run 7 rounds of Swiss. We don't have a cut to the finals. 7 rounds of Swiss, and then in the event of a tie that happens at if we have a tie at the end of 7 rounds, then we'll have a short playoff at the fastest time controls possible. But that is highly unlikely. We have some of the best Hive players in the world today. And if you've ever picked up this game yourself and you've been interested in how the top tier players think through the game and how they plan their moves, you're in luck, because that's exactly what we're here to figure out today. Now, we've just finished round 2. We're about to head into round 3. Randy, would you like to introduce the 2 combatants for our round 3 matchup, please?
Well, we actually have 1 game left playing in round 2. Let me just double check to make sure that is the case. Yes, there's 1 game left playing. So let me just take a look to see how far along they are. One other exciting thing about the tournament today and last Saturday is we have very short time limits. So, for example, this game, 1 player is 20 seconds over already, and 1 player only has 6 seconds left. So we're right to the very end.
What are the penalties involved if you run out of time? Is it a simple loss?
If you run out of time, your opponent can kick you out of the game and win by default.
So there's a little bit of sportsmanship there in choosing not to, right? And I wonder how often people choose to make their opponent's flag. I personally, all the Hive players that we've had so far have demonstrated a great deal of sportsmanship. I wonder if that's going to continue today, or if we're going to have some people choosing that. What do you think, Randy?
I think most of the Hive players at Board Game Arena are good sports, so I don't think we're going to have that issue. I don't know what the Board Game Arena system does in a live tournament situation. So we should see here very shortly, both players are over time here. So it doesn't look like, here we go. It looks like something just happened. So let's see what happens.
So we have a result for the end of round 2. So we'll be heading into the start of round 3 very shortly. Yep. So if you're interested in joining into any of these games, the Mind Sports Olympiad, for those of you at home, we're the world's largest and most competitive board gaming tournament in the world. We're on the crowning achievement of the Mind Sports Olympiad is the Pentamind tournament, which is the search for the world's strongest board gamer. Basically, you play all of the games across our schedule, and your scores from your top 5 games will count towards the Pentamind. And very simply, the player who scores best across those 5 games wins. You receive more points from competing in tournaments with more players, and there are certain events which are weighted slightly differently. And you need to have games across different categories. You cannot, for example, be a poker specialist, simply play poker. You can only count 1 poker game. There are all kinds of rules like that. If you are interested in that, if you're interested in fighting it out against all of these top-tier gamers, these world-class gamers to try to become the world's strongest gamer, then please join msoworld.com. Randy's just telling me that we're heading into round 3, and there we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
That's one of the exciting things I'm looking forward to. This is the first year that Hive has been in the Mind Sports Olympiad, and I'm looking forward to some of the top game players in the world playing Hive and see how well they do.
Because Hive itself is a particularly young game. But let's dive straight into the action, I think, today, Randy. Already, we've got a blistering fast opening.
We do. The two players that we have here are Eongler and Happy Kiwi. Both are two top players, have been playing in Hive for quite a while. You can see their rating is actually here. Ion is from Romania. He has a rating of 822. Happy Kiwi's from Sweden. He has a rating of 678. So they're both extremely strong players. And if you'll notice, in a game of Hive with Pillbug, it's very important to get the Pillbug out early so that your Pillbug is defending your queen, or in this case with Black, the mosquito acting like a Pillbug is defending the queen. So in either situation, if your opponent surrounds 5 spaces and your Pillbug is right next to your queen, then the queen just warps the Pillbug, or the mosquito just warps the queen away, leaving an empty hole where she used to be. So what has to happen is that the Pillbug has to be neutralized before you can win.
It certainly seems in this game that that both players respected the tournament opening, and they played. It looks like White played Pillbug first, and Black played Grasshopper first, followed by both of their queens respectively. So it's very interesting to see that they've decided that, to respect the normal tournament openings, not to decide to play queen first. Why do you think that might be, Randy?
Because both of these players have a lot of experience playing with the tournament opening rules, and neither of them have much experience playing without them. So that would be my guess.
So there's a little bit of cowardice. Are you saying that both of these players are cowards, Randy? You heard it here first. Randy,
no, because if I say that, then they're going to beat me really badly the next time I play them. So,
for those of you who don't know, Randy Ingersoll was actually the 2011 world champion at Hive over at boardspace.net. He's also written a book called Play Hive Like a Champion, and he's got a YouTube channel where you can go and have a look at that. And you've just seen Black complete the maneuver that Randy mentioned earlier, bringing the Pillbug directly next to the Black Queen. It certainly looks, it certainly looks to most observers here that Black is close to loss. How would you analyze this game state, Randy?
Well, if White had a bug that could move into that final spot, you would be absolutely right. But since White did not have a bug available to move into that final spot, now all Black has to do is that, which is warping the queen away.
We just saw that's the power of the Pillbug, and one of the reasons why the Pillbug is such a powerful defensive force. I would imagine that White now would like to remove the Pillbug by doing exactly that, placing the beetle on top. That's one of the first. It seems to be one of the first major objectives in this style of gameplay. Of course, Black, I think, with that move, is signaling their desire to remount the previous player's beetle. What do you think? Do you think that that's what they're doing here with this new beetle placement?
Yeah, there's no question that's the scenario. Because you want to remount the white beetle, because if you do, then if you leave the white beetle at that spot, it's in position to attack, take the final kill shot if necessary.
So we actually have like mountains of Pillbugs here. We've got the mosquito played by White right next to that white beetle. So there are we could have a massive stack all on top of the Hive. It's a massive beetle fest. How many times do games revolve to this? Well, like, we haven't seen that because Black has immediately used an ant to pin that mosquito, and White is repinning with the white spider. But how often is it that we have like a massive beetle Hive?
It's a regular scenario with beetles and mosquitoes stacked on top of one another. Now, because one of the best ways to defend against an attacking beetle is with a beetle of your own.
Beetle of your own. It looks like we're certainly into the second phase of the game, which is where we care about ants and mobility. So this is certainly a big theme in competitive play now. Oh, wow. Black, I miscounted. Black had more beetles or beetle-like insects than I previously thought. It looks like we're going to have exactly what we just talked about there. A massive beetle stack.
And the spot right here in the middle, The spot right here in the middle is a spot that black can use to spawn new bugs. Those bugs cannot be pinned. So if black places another bug right in there, it will release the beetle that can climb up defensively.
Aha. We also have the potential of creating good rings on the side of, if we're playing from the perspective of Happy Kiwi, do you think that placing, and we've just seen black exactly play the grasshopper there, black has the option also of finishing that ring, huh? How advisable is that?
It's a very possible situation. Now, what Happy Kiwi will probably do here is jump out and pin this grasshopper out here to the queen. Decided to pin that ant there. The danger there is if the white grasshopper can come in and do away with the spot here.
The white grasshopper, I think it looks like an interesting idea because it takes away one of black's key spawn points, key placement points. Yes. It looks like what else do you think white could be mulling over here apart from the jump in from the left-hand grasshopper?
The number one thing is probably what's going to happen with this ant out here. And that's a very good use of it. Painting another ant is a very good use of an ant. And for people that aren't that familiar, exactly, that's what I was going to talk about, the one hive rule. The one hive rule says that all the pieces in the hive have to remain connected. So if you notice, they're all connected to one another. Any of these pieces, like the white queen or the white pillbug or the black grasshopper, none of those pieces can move, because if you move them, it breaks the hive into two pieces, and that violates the one hive rule.
One of the fundamental aspects of gameplay here at Hive. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to highlight here, and we have a flurry of ladybug placements. I'm just going to very quickly say this: we're very lucky at the Mind Sports Olympiad to have the level of competition, the level of insight into these sometimes obscure, sometimes really easy to play games. If you have any questions, if you want to jump into the conversation, please feel free to join us into the Facebook comment section. We will be periodically reading that and answering your questions as we go through today, because it's a very long stream. We're here for 7 rounds total, and this is currently just round 3. Please take advantage of the fact that we have Randy Ingersoll and his fantastic wealth of knowledge about Hive. Me, not so much, but please join in the chat. Now, Randy, back to you. We've just had a couple of ladybugs played. Could you tell me first and foremost, and we've seen that ring placement thing that we just spoke about. Is that a mounted black beetle in the bottom, in the center of the board?
Yes, right here. There's a black queen underneath there. White has already neutralized black's pillbug. Black's pillbug is underneath this stack right here. So black has to be very careful without having the pillbug as a defender. The queen must be very careful to make sure that she is defended. Black on attack, however, has a beetle up on the hive here and can easily cross over to cover and neutralize the white pillbug here. So this is an exciting game. And one of the keys.
So off you go. Sorry, Randy, please. No, please continue.
And one of the keys, one of the things that all good Hive players regularly do is continually count bugs. So we can see here the grasshopper that just placed here, this placement in a ring, and typically rings are bad. But if you control all the bugs in the ring like black does here, that's not necessarily a bad thing. There are 3 black bugs that can be freed: the ladybug, the grasshopper, or the queen. So black has the choice of where to break the ring. But at any given
just to go back onto, sorry, please, Randy. Yep.
But at any given time, good Hive players are constantly counting bugs. They're looking to see how many bugs it takes to win and or lose. So, for example, black has 3 empty spots. We call these kill spaces. 3 kill spaces available that need to be filled. Does white have enough bugs to fill them? And if you look in the reserve, they have 4 in reserve, plus an ant here mobile and an ant here mobile. So yes, white has enough. And
the spider at the north of the board.
The spider is not really mobile, because if it moves, it releases this black ant.
But if certainly we can still count that as an attacker.
Not right at the moment. Right now it
Right at the
can be,
moment.
because it's now in a position that has a line of attack to the black queen. But notice what the black queen did here was moved away to minimize the number of spots that were open.
In
But
in
now,
Go, I'm not sure if you play a lot of Go, Randy. In Go, we have this idea of liberties when you're trying to catch things, and it certainly feels like it is a very similar concept. Since each of these pieces is hexagonal, there are only 6 different places where each bug can move in relation to the rest of the hive.
very similar, yes.
It looks to me like, because of that that early trap of Black's pill bug, Black looks like they're in dire straits here. The game seems to be really quickly winding to a close in White's favor. Black seems really far from being able to mount any kind of effective attack here. What do you think the chances are that the game ends in about 5 or 10 moves in White's victory? What other resources does Black have?
Black doesn't have much in the way of resources. The best defending bugs are ants, and they only have 1 mobile ant. And White has plenty of bugs in reserve. So all White needs to do... Go ahead.
No, we have a bit of a delay, so I end up talking over the top of you. I'm so sorry. It looks to me like this whole game turned around when White managed to capture Black's pill bug, and therefore placed Black continually on the defensive.
Exactly.
Did you see any other... What else could Black have done? What else could Black have done in this position? Was White simply too fast, too strong?
Well, that's one of the things that one has to do when one is playing with a pill bug, is from the very beginning, you need to be thinking, how can I neutralize my opponent's pill bug? The easiest way to do that is with the beetle or a mosquito acting like a beetle. And so you always have to be looking, how can I defend against a beetle or a mosquito acting like a beetle? And if you notice,
yeah,
White placed this grasshopper with a line of attack directly to this spot.
Directly in, yes.
And then Black will be
final ant.
Black will be forced to defend this ant, to stop this ant from taking the kill shot. And once that happens, then White can easily place another grasshopper at the other end with another line of attack to there. Or a beetle that can, in 1 or 2 moves, move in and take the final kill shot. So there's not a whole lot here that Black can do. That
With
move
the game is limited. Sorry, off you go, Randy. Yes.
That grasshopper move by Black, the purpose for that was it freed this ant. So now Black has 2 good defenders, but that's not going to be enough.
With a game with as few limited options as this, it certainly seems that Hive that it's possible for players to solve Hive, or to create an algorithm engine that will measure all of the potential options. What do you think about that? Is Hive close to being solved?
It's definitely not close to being solved. It's a lot more complex than it looks at first glance. For example, and one other thing, it's continually compared to chess. In fact, John Yanni, who designed Hive in the year 2000, he refers to it as chess without a board.
Yeah.
But one major difference is chess has been around hundreds of years, and there's tens of thousands of books written and an encyclopedia of chess openings. Hive is still new enough that it doesn't have all of that research and those publications available. So the average player can still go in and play even against a top player and come up with something that's relatively new. So there are so many different available options that I don't think we're in any danger of it being solved anytime in the near future.
I'm just going to jump in there very quickly, because we've just seen the string of actions that Randy and I had predicted, that Black was forced to use their ant, which they had freed with their grasshopper move earlier, to immobilize White's ant. White immediately placed that grasshopper to try to jump in and kill shot, and yet Black was forced again to place a Black ant to stop, using the one Hive rule, to stop White from jumping in and killing the queen. Although it does look like with White's next couple of placements, White has a White has a beetle in hand still, and yes, that's exactly what looks like it's going to be the case. White will try to mount that beetle up on top of the Hive, and in 2 moves stop Black. The question is, does Black have any resources available to stop this? And it looks pretty dire. It looks like it's about That's about all she wrote.
Well, let me just make it's never as simple as that. Notice that when the black mosquito moved away, if white moves the beetle, that releases the pill bug underneath the beetle, and the pill bug can begin creating issues.
Aha. So if white tries to now mount, excuse me, I completely missed that black mosquito. Maybe these are exactly the reasons why Hive is far from being solved, and I'm happy to be proven wrong. So now if white chooses to mount that beetle, black can remount immediately with their own mosquito, and white still has this position of
underneath here is the pill bug.
Oh, so excuse me, that's exactly what you just said. Thank you, Randy.
Okay, but this is an interesting rule that very rarely ever happens. And so let's talk about it right now. The second major rule when it comes to Hive is called the freedom to move rule. In this position right now, there's not a scenario, but notice what black is going to do. Now, black, by placing the ant here, this ant can no longer slide through into that spot. There's not physically enough room in here. That's why the white beetle was placed here rather than there. And of course, forming this ring will win it for white, because if the black ant pins the beetle, the ant comes in to win. If the black ant swings over and pins the ant, the beetle comes in to win. And black has another, and again, black is defending with pinning there.
Incredible resourcefulness from black, and I'm so sorry to have counted black out of this game so many different moves ago. And I think this is an illustration of how difficult and how many different combinations of moves, of defensive maneuvers, are possible within the game of Hive. I'm very happy to be proven wrong.
Now let me just show you one other interesting scenario here. Now white can jump there, but then the ladybug can defend. So black is doing an excellent job of defending here. But let's go back to a few seconds ago when the black beetle was on top of this grasshopper right here. Very rarely does it happen, but it does show a scenario where you can have a gate atop the hive that you cannot move a piece through. And there we go. White is desperately attempting to try to get another bug free. And he did.
And that is the game. What a fantastic illustration of so many different concepts. Yeah. Happy Kiwi. I'm really impressed with so many of the defensive maneuvers that Happy Kiwi was able to enact there, including that final beautiful tussle with the beetles and with the various pins involved. I thought that was a very good game.
And you can hear iAngler saying this was tougher than he calculated. And reveal a little bit of information here. I keep track of how many games I've played with every player, and actually it'll show you on my screen how many times I've played each one of them, what my record is, and how many ELO points I've gained or lost. And iAngler, who won that game, I've lost a total of 5 ELO points to him. So he's one of the best players around.
We're actually very lucky to have, and I've mentioned this before, I'm certain, to have so many high-level players who specialize in these games. And so the Mind Sports Olympiad across the entirety, we're here for the entirety of August, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. We're here all the way up until the 30th of August, and across that time frame, we have over 90 different tournaments, 90 ways that you can face off against the best in the world. And not only face off, but we have money. We've got prize money involved. It's free to register this year for the very first time in our 40-year history. It's free to register, and this insight, this being able to rub shoulders and brains with everybody else. I'm really interested in interrogating with you, Randy, this idea of the tournament opening and the non-tournament opening, and the use of the pill bug as a defensive maneuver. It certainly seems that pill bug first, both as white and black, is a very strong contender for simply de facto what is played, the metagame. And yet we seem to see a cycle of like a set of bugs which tend to be played first before the queen. It certainly seems to be beetle, grasshopper, and Pillbug. Why
And
is that? And Ladybug.
Ladybug. The biggest thing about that is regarding the freedom to move rule, because the ants and spiders and queens, they slide along board level, so they have to have enough space but to fit into or out of a space. So it's very easy to trap one of those bugs where they cannot move. The ladybug, the grasshopper, the beetle, and then the mosquito adjacent to any one of those can actually move out of an interior space. And so that interior space is what is typically ends up being the first bug's place very quickly become blocked in. And so that's why ladybugs, grasshoppers, beetles are very, very common first bugs placed, because they would be free to move.
Do you have a preference yourself? If you were playing in this tournament, would you have the same opening every time? Is it like chess where we've got E4 players and D4 players? Do we have like Pillbug first players versus Beetle players?
I think you have a lot of that. I'm pretty much a ladybug first player. Ladybug was my favorite bug ever since she came out. She's the most versatile in a closed-in, tight situation, which you end up in the center of the hive when it's completely surrounded. So I'm quite often a ladybug first player. One of the disadvantages to playing the pillbug first is the pillbug can get surrounded very quickly. And if the pillbug has no empty space to move another bug into, then the pillbug's power is not usable. So, and the other thing is, if white plays the pillbug first, black can very easily play a mosquito right next to it, and then black ends up with the power of two pillbugs. The mosquito acting like a pillbug, touching the white pillbug, and then wherever the black pillbug gets placed as well.
Super interesting.
Round four has started.
Right, fantastic. Let's jump into a game. Would you like to introduce our two players, please? Randy, once you've found a match that you would like us all to spectate. Again, I want to remind everybody that if you're interested in throwing questions at former world champion Randy Ingersoll, or for myself to ask him, please feel free to do that in the comments section below on Facebook Live. We're also live on Twitch. We're also streaming for Board Game Arena on their Twitch. We're being hosted by them, as well as Periscope, so on Twitter. Here we go. We're jumping into a game directly. Would you like to introduce these players, please, Randy?
Sure. This is Max Shark, Dmitry. He's from Russia, and he's one of the top players in the world. In the World Championship, he actually, he's been playing for quite a while, because he played a match yesterday against Happy Kiwi, defeated Happy Kiwi in the World Championship. And so he is continuing forward in the World Championship. He's playing Rise Again, who is Ben from the U.S. Ben actually kicked me out of the World Championship in the last match that we played. So I don't know whether I should be cheering for him or against him in this scenario.
Let's go against him then, Randy. We hate Rise Again. We're going to be a little bit more sportsmanlike than that. So the players, the game seems to have developed very quickly right from the get-go. In the game texture that we just watched with Happy Kiwi, I would say that black was pretty much on the defensive from the start, and that maintains throughout the rest of the game. It doesn't look like that's the case here today. Or does it? Randy, do you think that there's clearly one player on the attack, one player on the defense? Is it more balanced than that?
Well, it's probably more balanced than that. One thing you could always look at is how many bugs do they continue to have in reserve. So white has 8 bugs in reserve, where black only has 5. So if white can withhold any kind of attack that black may give, then white should be able to come back and counterattack and win. As we noticed here, the white mosquito climbed up on top of one of the black beetles. So black very powerful play. Black has a serious scenario right now that they don't have an easy way of covering the white pillbug to neutralize it. But white started with a pillbug, and so we'll see very quickly that black may be able to neutralize the white pillbug by surrounding it so that it doesn't have anywhere to warp the white queen to. So that will be interesting to see how that works.
I'm really, really interested to see that. Well, first of all, our players, white started with Pillbug, black started with Mosquito. So that's the scenario that we were just talking about off air. And then they chose to, even though we have no tournament rules, both players chose to still respect tournament rules, which is very interesting to me. It doesn't look like it's an advantage either way.
It'll be interesting to go back through the game replays and see how many players did actually start with a queen.
Yes, certainly. I wonder if we will catch one of these top players choosing to do that, because it certainly seems like a metagame has been developed. Certainly when one of the greatest and most interesting things for me is this idea that strategies and techniques are being developed right in front of our eyes. That this is all untilled ground, something that you have mentioned earlier. That, I think, ladies and gentlemen, is if that's something that interests you also, then you might be interested in a number of our other offerings. We have at the Mindsports Olympiad a very broad diversity, a very broad spectrum of all kinds of different games. Classics, if you're interested in those. Much newer games like Hive, if you're interested in those. And all of them will require you to think, I guarantee you. We have a whole bunch of... The game seems to be heating up greatly. It looks like... so we've got our first mounted beetle. Is that a white mounted beetle or a black? It's a white mounted beetle.
White mounted beetle over here, and then what white has done is it's released the ant. So it'll be interesting to see whether black goes out to pin the white ant, but black is seriously Yep, black is seriously running out of bugs.
2 bugs left as opposed to 6 bugs in reserve. It certainly looks like white is nowhere near needing to fend off a lethal attack with some very clever pins. It looks to me like this situation in the north end of the board where that one white ant has managed to pin 2 black pieces seems very inefficient for black. And a lot of this game can come down to the efficiency and inefficiency of your pins.
That is absolutely true. Counting bugs is a critical skill. And any time that you can neutralize a number of opponent bugs and only use one of yours, that's a net gain. So the three concepts that every good Hive player constantly has to think about is tempo, strength, and mobility. Tempo, you can have all the mobility in the world, but if you're one tempo behind, you're going to lose. So tempo is important. Mobility is important, which that white grasshopper right there freed this white ant, so that will increase his mobility. And black is forced to go over and keep the white ant pinned.
There's a lot of ant-on-ant violence in this game of Hive because the ants are one of the most mobile pieces in the game. You very commonly see ants blocking ants or ants pinning ants. And that's actually one of the reasons why ants are played so frequently in the mid-game, which we're certainly past the mid-game, because you're looking to pin pieces as efficiently as you possibly can to stop and neutralize opponent effects. Something that I wanted to... something that is super interesting to me is that time and time again we see these top-tier players with their grasshoppers in hand, in reserve, played last. That seems to be a very important trope. Can you tell me more about that, Randy? Why is it that so many players are choosing to play grasshoppers last?
Well, let's look at these 2 spots right here. These 2 kill spaces next to the black queen. Notice this white ant can't get to either one of them. So getting to these 2 final spaces takes a bug that can go up and over other bugs. So a white grasshopper placed here could jump into this spot. A white ladybug placed here could jump into either one of those spots, or a white ladybug placed there can easily get to either one of these 2 spots. Now, of course, that's going to create a ring, and because of the mosquito next to this pillbug, black has some good defensive opportunities here. The question will be whether the defense is going to be strong enough, because white does have 2 bugs atop the hive, the beetle coming over from this direction and the mosquito already here. But if the white ladybug elects to attack to either one of these spots, the black pillbug could take the queen out, or the black mosquito, using the white pillbug's power, could bring the queen out here. And in this case, black is defending by using the pillbug to move the grasshopper over. Now black is threatening to warp the black queen away. So it'll be interesting to see if white covers the black queen to keep it from being able to be warped out.
Because, of course, a covered piece cannot be warped by the special pill bug.
Correct.
This is actually another really, really common idea that we've seen a lot over the course of these Hive tournaments, this being the second one, that you must neutralize the opponent's pill bug first and foremost before you get on with the rest of your attack. It looks certainly now, Randy, that Black is definitely on the defense here. That White is the one asking the questions, and Black is being tasked with answering in a resourceful way. How do you feel about that?
No question about that. That is the case.
Do you think that there's any coincidence that in the past two games, and actually a lot of the games that we've watched, Black seems to be on the defensive early? Is this simply a result of Black generally going second? Does going first is that simply innately an advantage?
One might think that it's an innate advantage by going first, but that's not necessarily the case. If you look at games between top players, it's very, very close to 50-50. And these are definitely two of the top players. In fact, one of the matches that was just played just recently at Board Space, it went 6 games. The first 2 games, White won both of them. The next 2 games, Black won both of them. Then there was a draw, and then Black won the 6th game to win the match. So in that game, Black won 3 out of the 6. But it was between 2 top players. So it's not necessarily a huge advantage to be playing White.
I just want to jump in there. This mounted beetle that is really close to the Black Queen seems like a massive threat here. It looks like that's the game. Am I missing something?
Well, you are, because with that move right there, then Black is just going to warp the Queen away.
Warp the Queen away. I see. Yes, here's the pill bug. Of course. Yes. Yeah. So I think that would be the only. No, there are 2 moves that Black could make here that would stop that. The other move being jumping the grasshopper into that empty space. No, that wouldn't do it either, because then the mosquito simply steps down and wins the game. So it looks like
he could jump the grasshopper over to there.
He could, and that's exactly what he's done. Why do you think he's chosen to do that and not warp with the pill bug?
Well, because one primary reason for doing that is warping with the Queen before did not break the ring. Now warping with the Queen will break the ring, leaving some Black bugs pinned behind.
Pinning more pieces behind.
White bugs behind. Yep.
Got you. So it looks like White. One great move that White could make is to mount the Queen using the beetle. Do you think that is likely here?
Well, the big problem with that is underneath it is the mosquito.
A mosquito.
So if White mounts the Black Queen, then the White mosquito can then mount immediately. But
remount
with 4 bugs in reserve, White should not have a problem here. So
yes,
if it were me, I would mount with one or the other of those.
Our evil villain, Rise Again, has no bugs in hand. If you were playing as White here in this position, how would we be taking advantage? How would you take advantage of the fact that Black can no longer place pieces?
I would be just working at getting some of these bugs in reserve in position where they have lines of attack to the final spaces. Let's see, Rise Again's move. Rise Again does have this ant here that is free.
At the north. So it looks like I would be looking to place the spiders. If I were White, I'd be looking to place spiders there. Grasshoppers. Oh, and we've got the remount, which is exactly what we were talking about before. For those of you at home, it doesn't matter how many pieces are mounted on top of the Queen. If you surround the Queen, it's dead. The mounts simply tell you what bugs underneath are unable to move any further.
And you can have a stack just as tall as you want. There's no limit as to the stack.
Would White want to remount over here to create a larger stack still?
The problem with that is, as long as the ring is here, the Black mosquito underneath there would become mobile.
I got you.
So
how? Sorry, off you go. Yes.
So White is going to probably start trying to bring bugs in to start filling these spaces. And what Black is going to do is every opportunity they get, they're going to use the pill bug to move this space and this space. As White fills them, Black will be moving the pill bug out, using the pill bug to move the pieces away.
we can't unfortunately see your cursor here on the
Oh,
screen.
you can't. Sorry.
No, we can't. So in future, could you just name the bugs? I suppose we'll talk about the center of the board. And we can use our cardinal directions, but that's completely okay. It looks like the nearest deployment point, the nearest spawn point, for white seems to be this northern ant towards the eastern side of the board.
Correct.
Would you be looking to place your grasshoppers or spiders first if you were white here?
Well, what you're looking to do is place bugs that can get a line of attack to where they need to go to attack the queen. A white spider, the white ant up in the upper top right, if you place a white spider directly adjacent to the ant, right to its right, to the east direction, then count 1, 2, 3 spaces can put it right down.
Interesting. Pillbug move here. I wonder if white's going to choose to try to pin that with their ant, or if they're going to choose. Sorry, off you go, Randy.
It's difficult to pin a pillbug because you pin it, and then 2 turns later it can move the piece that you pinned with. Because the pillbug
with that move, the black pillbug is no longer connected to the queen. So is this an opportunity now for white to strike? It certainly looks like it. There's rapid deployment now of those two grasshoppers in a row.
Now black however has a free ant down here to the lower right part of the screen and is going to go up and pin the 2 grasshoppers. Now white has a serious problem because the space directly to the left of the queen and the stack of bugs, and the place lower left of the queen and the stack of bugs are not accessible to either one of the spiders.
Oh dear.
So black has done an extremely good job here.
That was a very efficient pin by black. Black's last move using 1 piece to pin 2 pieces. Well, actually 1 piece to pin 1, I suppose, because that second grasshopper was always moved. And I think that's an example of a bad ring, because as soon as white placed that grasshopper, black's move was to mount using the mosquito, thereby trapping all those white bugs in the ring. I think that'd be an example of a bad ring there. What do you think, Randy?
And as you notice, what black did, use the ladybug to go ahead and attempt to free the
beetle,
the ant, the black ladybug was forced to pin the white ant. So white is running out of attackable bugs that can attack. And this is one of the other common tactics you'll see. Black can waste turns by the ant up in the upper center part of the hive can just move back and forth, wasting turns. So black is getting ready to counterattack, I think.
Very interesting. Do you think that we still have enough resources by either side to have a conclusive game, or are we headed towards a draw?
Well, what we haven't been doing, Chris, is taking a look at the time.
Counting bugs.
Max Shark only has 10 seconds, and Rise Again only has 1 minute and 18.
A decisive time advantage.
Very decisive.
Neither player has. It almost looks to me that we don't have that both players are very, very low on resources to attack. That there aren't enough attacking pieces. I don't think that black has enough pieces.
So what's going to have to happen here? It looks like Max Shark is going to probably run out of time.
And then, do you think Rise Again will simply call it a win by flagging?
More than likely,
they're able to do that now, right? We'll see what the metagame is like. They may agree to a draw out of being genteel and sportsmanlike.
I don't know. Can you see that? You can't. I think our pictures are over the little chat spot on Board Game Arenas, but Rise Again is commenting, "Good game. Sorry to win this way."
So they're going to be claiming the victory there. I don't think they should be sorry, because obviously the time and our processing speed is a big part of how this Hive tournament is played.
Absolutely.
And certainly, especially, and we see that with shorter time controls in games like chess, or where we also see shorter time, where we see people choosing to flag their opponents. I think it's a very interesting addition to this game.
Now this is one of the things that some of the top players have complained about here at Board Game Arena. they don't have a 3 repetitions move is a draw.
I see.
Because you would have that here in chess, for example. If you repeat the same position 3 times in a row or 3 times during the game, it's a draw.
So why hasn't Rise Again chosen to take the victory now? Is there any reason why we're repeating moves?
I don't know.
Curious. Now that we've gone to the spider, it always looks to me like the spider is simply the most useless bug. What do you think about that, Randy?
It's definitely the weakest bug in the hive, but there's nothing better than to win with the spider.
Is there a term, Randy? You might know this. Is there a term for unfair discrimination against spiders? What's that? Well, there's a rational fear of spiders. I feel like as an Australian, I should know this term. But yeah, you heard it here first. No one likes spiders. End of game, tournament maximum time reach, game abandoned.
Well, let's see. But first was Rise Again, second was Max Shark. So Rise Again got the win.
Because of the oh, I see. So it looks to me like the first player to reach zero time is they lose the tiebreakers for this, and so the players are simply forced to run out their times, and that there is no ability for either player to either concede or to assert the victory once the other player has timed out. So I think what we just saw was the players running through their time, running through their moves to enact this situation just for these tournaments. Now we want to be. I want to be really thankful to. I would very much like to thank our partners at Board Game Arena, especially with all of the. You can go to Board Game Arena for free, register for free. There's a small price you can pay if you want to join their premium service, get access to more games. But largely, you can play all of these board games for free. They're a massive trove of online board games, and of course, Board Game Arena, the website, has only been up for a very short amount of time comparatively. So, and because they're constantly adding new games, there are constantly new updates to their user interface, which we just saw one of their fixes there. So I'm certain that the people at the Board Games Arena will get around to finding a more elegant solution to that as we move forward. But
I hope so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope so as well. But I do want to say in general that I've been very impressed with how easy it has been to both watch and play games through Board Games Arena, particularly for free. They are one of the major partners here at the Mind Sports Olympiad, and we're very grateful to have their company. So that was the end of round 4, Randy. We've got 3 more left to go. Can we have a look? Who's your pick to win this tournament?
Well, if you put my screen up, we can look at the current standings.
Certainly. Let's have a look at the current standings.
So Rise Again and Quadlibet are leading the way.
Interesting. Quadlibet is up here again. He won the tournament that we broadcast 2 days ago, and we had a fantastic opportunity to have a brief chat with him. A very intelligent man from Chile. I don't think it's any accident that he's here. He's also the 3-time world champion of Hive and the current reigning world champion. Played through the series at boardspace.net.
That's him. He's the current champion, reigning 3 times, as you mentioned. And Rise Again, the player we just saw, has won all 4 of his games. So we may be coming down to a matchup between these two. In fact, in the next round, let me scroll down and see if they're matched up. Rise Again and Quadlibet are matched up in the next round. So I think we picked our game.
We've picked our game. I'm very excited to watch this as soon as they get started. Of course, we need to wait. Are we all right? We're right into it.
They're already going.
Ask and ye shall receive. So this looks like Pillbug first by white, followed by Ladybird first by black. Black is our reigning world champion Quadlibet, and Rise Again is the white player who we featured in our last game, who managed a fantastic victory there. Black Quadlibet mounted Beetle early on. White countering with an ant.
They both have beetles up fairly early, so it'll be interesting to see how the fight goes.
Oh, is that a beetle mounted? Is that a white mounted beetle?
Yes, with a mosquito underneath them.
Strong. I know. I can't help but notice that there's a general meta forming about the bugs that you place first, the bugs you place second, and it certainly looks like white is heading into the ant mobility games.
It'll be interesting here to see if we have an upset in the making with Rise Again. I think if I were white, I would probably be covering his pill bug with my beetle.
It looks like that's where black's beetle is heading, but then white could do the exact same thing back. So,
yep. So white,
that's
white
exactly what we're seeing.
There.
That's exactly what we're seeing right happen now. And black choosing, I think black is aware that they don't have to cover the pill bug right away because the pill bug's not going anywhere because of the one hive rule. And so they're so black's taking the time to develop and get more attacking pieces into play. It certainly looks like black again. Quadlibet is on the defensive here. It certainly looks like that white has a lot of attacking opportunities here.
And I think you're right. So it'll be okay. So now Quadlibet advances with the black beetle. Now this shows the advantage of having a ladybug defending, because the spot immediately to the right of the black queen, if white were to attack that spot, that would free the ladybug, and the ladybug would no longer be pinned and could very quickly switch from defense to attack.
Yes, absolutely. So I think it's really important to note here that if black covers white's queen, it's very different than if white covers black's queen. If white covers black's queen with a beetle, then it's just a normal play. But if black manages to cover the white queen, then black ends up being able to immediately start deploying onto the white queen, unless, of course, white prevents that by moving a bug closer.
Correct. When you're covering with a beetle, let's go back to the placement rule in general. You can place a bug in a spot that only touches your own colored pieces. You cannot place a bug that touches your opponent's pieces. And it's the color of the top bug that counts. So for example, the white beetle in the lower left portion of the hive,
white has a win here. If black doesn't respond, white has a win here.
Correct. And so, but the black mosquito has the ability to jump out. So we'll see what happens here.
Which piece would you use the black mosquito as in this? Would you use it as a ladybug, a grasshopper, or an ant? Well,
it can't be used as an ant because it's blocked in by the freedom to move rule.
By the freedom to move rule, yes.
So
ladybug or grasshopper? Ladybug, it seems to be the choice.
Yep. Now,
why do you think they've chosen the ladybug instead of jumping in as a grasshopper to attack the white's queen?
Because notice the spot. This is an extremely strong defensive position for black, because there's two kill spaces open for the black queen.
Yes.
But if white attacks either one of those spaces, then the black ladybug is free and can jump out.
Gotcha.
And when the black ladybug jumps out, then the black queen will be inside what we call a pocket and be free to move. So white has to be very careful that white does not allow the black queen any movement. And meanwhile,
almost like an interior of a ring. Is that what you mean
correct.
by pocket?
Yes.
Aha. Sorry, I interrupted your thought very rudely. You were about to you had an aha thing.
and black now has neutralized the white pill bug, and so black is in a position where he could very easily end up attacking. So the white ladybug has come in, but either piece that white attacks with, the black ladybug will jump out. But white is preparing a very strong attack here. If the ladybug attacks, notice how the white grasshopper that's out beyond the white beetle is poised to jump into the spot vacated by the black ladybug.
By the lady beetle, yes, by the black ladybug. Okay, black responds right now with a grasshopper of all pieces. This is certainly an attacking move. This feels to me like an attacking move to jump directly into the white queen.
Well, it's both an attacking move and a defending move. It's in position to attack the white queen, but it's also in position to block the space just to the left of the black ladybug.
The freedom to move rule.
Freedom to move rule. So the white ant no longer can gain access to that space. The white ant can, however, gain access to the space, this one that's going to right now.
Which frees the ladybug now? It feels
which
like it
frees
must
the
be a
ladybug.
ladybug move. So
Well,
we're entering this forcing exchange because black will lose unless they mobilize a piece now.
black either has to move the ladybug out or use the 1 or the 2 free ants to pin the ladybug.
Which would you prefer here?
Well, let's take a look. What other bugs does white have?
In hand or free to move on the board? Because it looks like this white grasshopper counters the ladybug move. So the southwestern grasshopper will simply jump into the place vacated by the by black's lady beetle if the ladybug moves.
Now the ladybug moved out there to minimize places where white can place a new bug. So if white goes in there, now the black ant can go out and pin the ladybug.
Which again frees the other white ant. Are you talking about the black ant towards the east of the board, towards the right hand side?
Well, actually, he actually has the ability to move out with the ladybug. Although Quadlibet says well played, so he's expecting that white's going to win.
Yes.
I don't think it's quite over yet. We're going to probably see a tactic called the fill here very shortly.
Where you mean the step down of the beetle?
Nope, because the white can, okay. Now let's see.
So that white's mosquito just acted as black's ladybug to fill the top right hand corner, and black has chosen to commit seppuku by killing himself by moving. So he must have seen a forced continuation there that allowed no other chance of victory. Let's have a look at this again.
The white beetle was coming down.
Yes, that's what I was thinking about before. So rather than do that, Quadlibet chooses the more honorable path of acknowledging his loss by killing himself, by giving his own queen a cuddle. You know,
that's right.
Hive is not that aggressive a game. You just want to give each other hugs, right? We want to give each other hugs and we want to hate spiders. Things that Australians know very much about. Hating those stupid spiders. I'm telling you a stupid joke.
Well, they may only be hugs, but I guess if they're a really, really, really strong hug, then it's no longer just friendly.
There's something that brings me to mind with. I'm not sure if you know anything about this, Randy. Aren't there insects? Aren't there hiving insects which use cuddles as a defense mechanism? Isn't it a thing where, for example, ants are attacked by larger termites, for example, and in order to and ants have acidic bellies or such, and their job is to bite onto a termite and explode their abdomen, therefore giving like death cuddles to these termites that die. Have you heard anything about that, Randy?
Well, it's very interesting that you mentioned that because I was just reading very recently about these. I think there's some sort of wasp that has come into the United States from Asia, and they attack bees.
Oh, these Asian wasps.
And the native honeybees in Asia have developed a defense mechanism where when one of these wasps comes into the hive, the wasp can actually kill tens of thousands of honeybees in just a matter of just a few minutes.
Wow.
And so what the honeybees will do is, the ones from Asia anyway have developed and learned this tactic. They will completely surround the wasp, and then they flap their wings very quickly, raising their body temperatures, raising the temperature inside this ball of honeybees until it reaches the temperature high enough that it kills the wasp.
What a terrible way to die. To be like, imagine being that wasp, right? Like you're Rambo. You enter this castle of honeybees. You're there to stab, and I'm sure that while this wasp is getting cooked alive, it's still stabbing mercilessly with its stinger, killing other bees and such. Wow, what a fantastic way! The insect kingdom, right? Ridiculous.
And I'm sorry, I don't have any any empathy for wasps whatsoever. So they're getting what's coming to them.
You heard it here first. Randy is, what is there a term for? We have to find this term for just like indiscriminate hate against certain species of insect. It's not racism, it's insectism, right? Is it insectism?
That's it.
You heard it here first. Randy is an insectist against both spiders. Wait, no, I'm the insectist against spiders, and you're the insectist against wasps. You know, jokes aside, wasps are a pretty nasty thing, like a pretty big agricultural force. I shouldn't talk about that because I don't know any more about it. I shouldn't poke fun at this. But I mean, if
there's no wasp in the game, so we can talk negatively about them.
We can talk dirt. If you're angry about how insectist we are, please show us the nature of your rage in the comments below. If you enjoy our insectist stuff, you can please donate to support the stream and help the MSO continue to create great content like this. Now,
and most of it's game related, but not all of it. You may get some nature studies here at MSO this time.
We're here to learn not just board gaming. We're here to learn how to be better people. And if you ever, I think the lesson really here is, if you're ever accosted on the street and there's some kind of thug that gets at you, all you need is about 200 little friends to come over and give him a hug and flap your arms around to overheat that thug. What's that thug gonna do? They're gonna kill 5 of you, but that's so much better than 100,000, right?
That's true.
Don't do that. Please don't. Please don't. Please behave responsibly. All right, let's dive straight into it. We seem to be, so that's the end of round 4. We're now heading into round 5. We've only got one undefeated player left, and we're jumping straight into things. We have Down Under Rich versus, I can't quite see that name. Let me remove that watermark on the top.
This is somebody you're familiar with. Ricardo Jorge Gomez.
Ricardo Jorge Gomez. Now, I can't remember which country he comes from, but for those of you who don't know, Ricardo Gomez is one of the world's strongest gamers, period, across an extraordinary array of games. He tends to specialize in strategic Euro-placed games, and he does some really good things in things like Seven Wonders, Agricola, worker placement. He's just an all-round smart guy. I cannot for the life of me remember his country. Is that a little flag?
He's from Portugal. It is.
Portugal. Thank you very much. So he's a very interesting man, Ricardo. We've spoken a lot about his struggles of developing a new gamer community in Portugal, how Ricardo has had to travel a vast majority of his gaming career internationally, despite being a world-class gamer himself. And I'm going to stop talking right now because Ricardo, as the white pieces, seems to be fairly close to finishing this game. I spoke too soon. I talked too much, Ricardo. I spent too much time talking about how awesome you were. I didn't get to talk about this game. What a shame. Ricardo, if you're out there, congratulations on your victory. I apologize to those of you at home. Randy, would you like to jump into another game which might not finish as quickly as that? If you're out there, Ricardo, big hearts to you. Big love. Big love to my man, Ricardo, a man that I've had the pleasure of sitting opposite on many different tables. I beat him in the 2018 Catan one time. We tied for 3rd place. I beat him in the rounds there and beat him in Perudo on the finals of Liar's Dice, which is fantastic. He's just such a smart gentleman. Of course,
let's see where he's sitting. He's sitting with 3 points in 5 games, so he's in like the top 15.
Yes. Do you think it is possible with 2 losses in this tournament and with 2 rounds still to come to still make it into the top spots? Or is it too late?
Well, let's look at the standings. Rise Again it has no losses. He has 5 points in 5 games. Italy 27, I'm not familiar with this player, has 4.5 points. So we may need to watch this person's next game.
Okay.
Max Shark, Eongler, Quadlibet, Ihalinen, all have 4 points. They're top players. They're all regular players in the World Championship tournament as well.
Which we should mention, actually. Shout out to boardspace.net, where currently there is a Hive World Championship going on. Many of those players who are playing it at boardspace.net are also playing in our Board Game Arena Mind Sports Olympiad tournament. So we're seeing a really high level of gameplay now. And fantastic. We've just jumped into another game. And we see our number one ranked Rise Again playing our number 2 Illy. Can the black pieces mount some kind of it seems like a black slaughter so far, Randy?
Well, see, one interesting scenario, neither player has placed their pill bug yet. So that is an interesting situation.
Can you break that down for me? It looks like a double ladybug opening. Why would you do that? Why would one player not want to lead with their pill bug?
Again, one of the scenarios, if you lead with the pill bug, then the options that you have for moving your queen out are limited. So if the queen is here and the pill bug is here, and you have all these spaces to move the queen to, that's an advantage. If the pill bug is inside the hive with 3 or 4 spaces around it filled, then you don't have the advantage of being able to move it out. But we have a serious scenario here, and black really needs to get their pill bug out and in play.
It looks like black is on the defensive again. Can I? So just to reconstruct things, it feels like both players went ladybug first, then queens second. Again, ignoring the free tournament rules that you can play whenever. Then immediately, I think it was ants from both players. Then immediately those ants went to attack the queen to allow a direct drop in of insects. White seems to have taken advantage of that most by playing beetles and mosquitoes next to the black queen, and black seems to have invested those moves defensively in placing beetles and mounting beetles rather than aggressively. So it certainly looks like we're seeing the advantage of tempo here on the side of white, forcing black to react with that additional 1 tempo. We'll see if black has the resources to be able to hold off this fearsome attack. These defensive beetles, I think, are going to form a big part of that defense.
Yes, and the most important thing that white needs to do now is make sure that can limit the ability of the pill bug to get into place. So if white had placed any bug that did not have the ability to move into this final space, black could have placed the pill bug in the one spot right there between the 2 beetles. But now you can't bring the pill bug into that spot because
then you lose.
Then you lose.
So would you, as black here, still play your pill bug?
One thing that black needs to do, black has 2 ants and a mosquito in the reserve. Those are your best defending bugs. So they really need to be being placed.
The ant, of course, ant being a fantastic defensive bug because you can most easily pin other attacking options.
Has the most mobility, can get anywhere around the hive.
This it feels like Rise Again has been particularly lucky getting white so many times in a row, because it certainly feels like the tempo advantage of going first and forcing your opponent to answer you is certainly something which has benefited Rise.
So what that
spider?
That spider was designed primarily to keep that bug pinned underneath a black beetle. So it's a white beetle underneath there. So
also, I think it's important to note the freedom to move players is at play here. But any bug could have fit that, and I think it's worthwhile to note that because any bug could fit that, it might have been part of Illy's thought process to put the most useless bug there. So I think I need to emphasize again for our audience that the spider is a useless bug. What do you think, Randy?
The spider is the weakest bug. It is not a useless bug.
It's the weakest and most useless. You heard it here first. Randy Ingersoll, the spider is a useless bug. Good, fantastic. Okay, so white has... Let's dive straight back in.
It's
white
the weakest bug, not a useless bug.
Oh, it's a useless bug. Thank you very much, Randy.
So now notice black has created a little ring there.
Yes.
And so if white attacks into the spot next to the queen, the ladybug can jump out.
Yes.
But Rise Again is doing the same thing that he did in the last game. He's putting the grasshopper into position to jump into that
where
spot
that ladybug would go. Yes.
Right, where the ladybug would vacate.
Is a grasshopper simply a fantastic foil for the ladybug? We see that concept happen quite a lot, especially with Rise.
He's using it exceptionally well.
Yeah. Maybe is this something that you've seen a lot of other top players do, or is this kind of a signature thing? Are we seeing a meta develop right now? This idea of a grasshopper.
I think it's a relatively common scenario.
Gotcha. So why did Rise play that grasshopper there? Because it doesn't look like it directly attacks. It indirectly attacks a bunch of ways.
Well, we may be able to use an example of what's called a fill. Notice how the black spider is pinning the white grasshopper over to the right side of the hive.
Yes.
If white can get a bug in the spot between the black beetle and the black spider, then the white grasshopper is no longer.
It frees the white from the one hive rule. Yes.
Correct. And so this is one of the weaknesses of the spider. The spider cannot just shift the pin one space. So
because the spider must move 3 moves. The spider must move 3 moves along the hive.
Now, that spider move, it created another ring, and now the black ladybug is free to move. So white must do something to keep the black ladybug pinned. Has to break the ring.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That seems like white must break the ring here. If you were white, and all of those options seem like great options, which would you choose?
I would break the ring with the white ant, and do exactly that.
That isn't what is. Oh,
he didn't break the ring, but now the black ladybug. This is an advantage of the white ladybug. See, the white ladybug can move into that empty space. So the white ladybug has a line of attack to take the kill shot.
Yes.
So the black ladybug will jump out. The white grasshopper will attack, and then the white ladybug will probably take the kill shot.
Yes. So it looks like there's nothing stopping. So just for everyone at home, the black ladybug here, I think, is forced to move out as we've just seen. Now white is going to try to free the grasshopper towards the right hand side of the board.
Actually, right now, what'll happen is the white ladybug will attack just to the left of the queen, and then the white. Oh,
to fill the spot that the other black lady beetle was in.
Correct.
And that would allow, it looks like, white's ant to jump in to fill the game.
Correct.
How can black stop this?
Oh, he did it a different way.
He did it a different way.
That way, and now the grasshopper in the center bottom of the hive is
ready to win the game. So, and black doesn't seem like, and the thing is, right, if black chooses to move any of their pieces, so it looks like black's ant is the best placed to try to pin that grasshopper, but then that frees a mosquito.
That frees the mosquito.
Which will then, I believe, mount as the beetle and then slowly make their way to victory lane.
That's one possibility, but a quicker route would be moving over and creating the fill and freeing the other grasshopper.
I see.
A little bit ago. Or the ant could do that as well.
Yes, because white also has a free ant towards the south end of the board. It looks like dire straits for black here.
And this highlights one of the things that I always tell. Oh, that's an interesting. Oh, yeah, but he didn't pin the grasshopper, so he goes in. And this is one of the things I try to teach new hive players. Losing the game with, in this case, a black ant and a black mosquito and a black pill bug in reserve is not a good thing.
No. But it felt like there were very few options to place those pill bugs, to place them ideally.
Yeah, he did.
How do you squeeze them in, Randy?
Well, that's the thing. You don't squeeze them in; you get them in first.
Gotcha. So you want to be, so you wouldn't play them to begin with because of the freedom to play move, but you're looking to play them from moves 2 onwards.
Correct.
So is it simply, would you go so far as to say that Illy's loss here was simply predicated on him having to force he had to make too many responsive moves by placing things like beetles, and because of that choice of token order that they didn't get those pieces down first? That was a loss by lack of resources.
I believe you're correct. Yep.
Yeah.
I can illustrate. Okay. I can illustrate it with the jar and the golf ball and the beans and the sand illustration.
Oh yeah. There's always time. There's always room for a beer with mates. If any of you haven't seen that viral video from a while ago, it's a really good video to watch. But I'm not going to spoil the point. Randy, would you like to illuminate our insect loving crowd out there?
So if you've got a glass jar and you've got some golf balls and some beans and some sand and some water, if you put the sand in first and then the beans in, you have no room to put the golf balls in. But if you put the golf balls in first, then when you put the beans in, they filter around the golf balls. And when you put the sand in, it filters down around. Then you can pour water in, you can put it all in there. So if you put the important things in life in first, or in this case, you put the important things in a hive in first, then the other things are going to fit around it.
Life lessons. Hive is not just about beating your opponent into the ground. It's about moving forward towards enlightenment together. Regardless of your religion, we are here to help you become more enlightened beings. You know what? It's a beautiful imagery. It really is. It really is something to think about. You know, like what are the important things for you in life? And in the game of Hive, the important thing is get your pillbug down, get your ants down, screw these spiders, get those spiders out of here. I see that you're readying a new game.
There's nothing better than winning with a spider, though. Remember that.
Nothing better than winning with a spider. Brandy, can you? I've actually. That was the end of. We are currently at the end of round 6. Is that correct?
Let's go back and take a look. It sounds like
I believe that Rise should have a score now of 6 wins and 0 losses. And forgive me if I'm wrong. I believe that there's no way now that he can be overtaken for the lead. I think at best he can be tied if he loses in his final matchup against someone who similarly has someone else who has 5 wins and 1 loss.
Let's take a look.
Now, in the event of yes, that's exactly what's happened. So that was the end of round 6. We have our final round coming just in a little while. Rise again is our clear leader at 6 wins and 0 losses. Right behind we have 2 players, Max Shark and Quadlibet, who's already lost to our good friend Rise again, on 5 wins and 1 loss. So the scenario that I'm talking about is, should Rise again be paired up against either Max Shark or Quadlibet, which it should do because it's Swiss pairings.
Let's take a look. Oh, there's 1 game left to be played in round 6.
Gotcha.
So we won't.
Gotcha. So if Rise Again is matched up against either Max Shark or Quadlibet, and I believe that it prioritizes players that you haven't played before, so I think that it's Rise Again versus Max Shark. If that matchup happens, 1 and 2, and Max Shark happens to beat Rise Again, they will both end up with a score of 6 wins and 1 loss, which will trigger our playoff clause, in which both players will start outside of this tournament 2 new tiebreaker games at the lowest time restrictions, and after those 2 rounds, if there is a winner, then that person wins the entire tournament. If they're still drawn at the end of those 2 rounds, either 2 draws or 1 win, 1 loss, then it will come back to these Swiss pairings, and whoever was on top of the tiebreakers, according to Board Game Arena, is going to take home the prize. So this is just so that there is an opportunity. If you take a loss early, you won't simply lose. There is a small playoff function, but I hope that we're going to get an opportunity for that playoff to happen. I might ask, Randy, would you mind messaging both Rise Again and Max Shark for me?
Of course.
To let them, as well as Quadlibet, to alert them of the potential of this playoffs happening, as well as to remind them that we would love to have a brief chat. We and the rest of the MSO audience would love a brief chat with them, an interview with the winner, whoever that ends up being at the end.
I will do that. I'll message all 3 of them.
Fantastic. And in the meantime, we will come back to the tournament as soon as we finish that final round. We'll try to get that final round up for you as quickly as possible. I want to take this moment now to thank everyone who's tuned in so far. It's been a pretty long stream. We've been really rabbiting through these games, and I don't know about you, but I certainly have learned a great deal about Hive from both Randy as well as the fantastic play from these top tier players. If you are a board gamer yourself, you're interested in this, if you're interested in fighting it out with other incredible minds like Randy's across the breadth of our tournament, please check out msoworld.com, and registration for all of our events is free. If you would like to help us continue to grow the tournament as well as the stream, we do have an option for you to donate, but you don't have to. We're going to be happy either way. If you want to donate to help us, that's fantastic. If you just want to tune in and watch throughout the month of August, then that's fantastic too. If you'd like to play, that would be the best. We would love you. We would love to see you in one of these tournaments, fighting it out, beating up these spider-toting people. Good, fantastic. All right. Now, I'm going to move on to our commentary, our open comments through the Facebook page to see if any of you have decided to ask us some questions today. And I have difficulty pulling that up just for now, so that is okay. All right. So a big thanks, a big shout out to the tournament organizer. Sorry, excuse me, to the game creator, Mr. John Yanni, who from what I'm told lives in the United Kingdom. A reminder out there about the Pentamind, which is the MSO, the crowning achievement here at the Mind Sports Olympiad. We have you can play these tournaments on each individual day. The Pentamind is the search for the world's strongest board gamer. We'll take your scores from your top 5 games you've played across the month of August, and we'll compare those against the top 5 scores of all of the players involved. Generally, if the players that you play against are larger, then wins will count for more. And there are some games which are prioritized with an additional point system. You can check out all of the rules on MSOworld.com. Without question, all of the people who have won our Pentamind World Championship are extraordinary minds. And that's actually one of the draws that keeps me coming back to the MSO year after year, to be able to talk strategy and life and golf balls with people of extraordinary caliber. For example, a past winner and now sponsor of the stream is a gentleman named Demis Hassabis. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. If for those of you who are tech heads out there, he's one of the driving forces behind Google DeepMind. It was his own company, then he ended up selling it to Google, and now he works a lot in AI technology. An incredible man, and his 2 sons are deeply involved in the Mind Sports Olympiad, also fighting it out every year. And I had the wonderful fortune of tricking one of Demis's young sons in a game of Catan a little while ago, which is fantastic, right? And that really is. It's about the community of board game, and this is the first year that the Mind Sports Olympiad has been online, which has been a highlight for a lot of our. It's allowed our player base to really grow. You're fighting against people from all around the world, like my good mate Ricardo Gomez, like a good mate Quadlibet from the 3-time reigning world championship from Hive, coming from Chile. You have this opportunity to unite brains and fight with people all around the world. What more could you ask for? Fantastic. What I might ask you to do, Randy, is to check in. I'm going to check in with you, Randy. Are we ready for the final round, our 7th round?
Well, it is interesting because Rise Again did not get matched up with Max Shark. Quadlibet and Max Shark are matched up with each other. Rise Again is playing Sofa Reme.
Very interesting. I believe this means that if Rise Again simply wins against Sofa Reme, who is one of the best players in the world, Rise Again will win the tournament outright. Rise Again seems to have broken his streak of white pieces. Now Rise Again is playing the black pieces, and it looks like, for the first time today, we've got Queen opening. We have
Queen versus Queen.
So it looks like Queen, and then Ladybug Ant. Is that what it looks like to you? What's underneath that stack?
Well, it's interesting because black played the Pillbug and white got a beetle on top of it, followed by the black mosquito. So it'll be interesting. And did we determine that Rise Again wins the tournament with a draw?
Rise Again should win the tournament with a draw, yes, because the competitors underneath him, 5-1. No, excuse me, yes. Rise Again will win the tournament if he goes to 6 wins and 1 draw, because the best other result between Quadlibet and Max will be 6 wins and 1 loss. So Rise Again is playing to either win or draw, which is a fantastic advantage to have.
So maybe that's what he's doing here, is just playing for the draw.
Interesting that white would choose then, knowing that, to play Queen first, which, for all conventional wisdom, playing Queen first leads more to draws because you end up filling a space that is coordinated with both queens ending in a double KO. Both players losing at the same time. Randy, could you tell me a little bit more about how much an advantage it is to be able to win even if you draw, to play for a draw?
I have never liked playing for a draw because often if you play for a draw, you end up losing. So playing for the win, knowing that if you draw, it's okay, is the way to do it.
Okay.
And so it'll be interesting to see. Black is winning the ant game, although white just freed up an ant right there. I think black has got, oh, that's interesting.
Why play a useless spider here, Randy?
There's no such thing as a useless spider.
What's that? There's only useless spiders. Why would Rise Again play a spider there? There are so many other really powerful pieces. So the grasshopper and the beetle both.
It could be planning on moving over here and pinning this ant so that it doesn't get away.
Because that's interesting too. So far, Remy had a free ant and still does have 2 free ants now, and yet Black is unconcerned. Black is still continuing to choose to mount their attack.
I don't think there's any chance that this is not going to end up a draw.
Okay, why is that?
When the queens are this close, if you have defending bugs, so if white had if the black ladybug were a white ladybug, for example, then could it, when the time was right, jump out? But there's no option like that. There's no option like that. There's no white bugs near the white queen. Although here we go. White is
that doesn't seem useful now. But it looks like white is playing that pill bug to move it next to their queen next turn. Is that right?
But the black beetle can come in, and then if the white pill bug moves in, the black beetle takes the black ant up in the upper left takes the draw.
So is the black beetle looking to mount immediately then? Is that
no, the black beetle doesn't want to mount immediately. That just wants to attack just like that.
Just wants to. It's a very aggressive game. Is this playing for a draw? As in playing all of your everything. There's no defense. It feels like we're not playing defensive pieces. It's just attack. Is this, ironically, is this the way to force a draw? It looks like it. So black has the option. Can black can't force the draw now because of the freedom to move rule, despite having a free black ant.
Correct. Black cannot go in, but black has 3 grasshoppers, so one of those grasshoppers will move in. Will be placed to attack.
Why did white move the white ant to fill that space?
I don't know. I don't think that was a good move, but it looks like it's going to end up with a draw.
If you're playing as black here, are you looking to deploy pieces immediately? Would you be playing a grasshopper here?
Yeah. That's interesting.
That's interesting because that doesn't immediately kill.
Oh, I guess he wanted the draw, so.
Okay, I see. So it looks like that was a funny way of white conceding there, and we have our clear tournament winner, Rise Again, with 6 wins and 1 draw. That's a draw.
Let's go back and look at the standings.
That should be a clear win from my calculations because the only other players with a record of 5 and 1 before this round is played, the best other record could be 6 wins and 1 loss. 6 wins and 1 loss being worse than 6 wins and 1 draw. Yep. So we have a winner. We have a clear winner with Rise Again. I thought that was fantastically played by Rise. I'm still a little bit puzzled by why white decided. It felt like those last couple of moves were concessionary.
That's what it looked like.
It certainly, yeah. It may simply have been that Solfar Remy knew that this tournament is a winner-take-all, that Solfar Remy could not have possibly, with only 4 wins, and with the board texture that way, Solfar Remy couldn't move into the top 3 spots. I do want to say that all of these games, all of these tournaments run We have prize money for some games. I don't believe there is prize money for this. This is just for Pride. But the MSO for every single event will be sending out incredibly rare Mind Sports Olympiad medals. And they look beautiful. They're gold, silver, and bronze. I've had the chance of being able to hoist a few myself, generally at the expense of people like Ricardo Gomez. Ha ha ha! No, I'm joking.
So tell us about the image on the medal.
The image. Oh, it's the Mind Sports Olympiad caption, which I'm going to bring up in the top right hand corner. It's that caption on. Let's see. Actually, see. Can I find a way to bring that image? You'll be able to see an image of those medals. We've got our tournament organizer and our CEO. Is he a CEO? I suppose so. Mr. Eitan Ilfeld, an incredibly erudite and incredibly well-educated, very cultured man. He pays my bills. He doesn't pay my bills. But we've got a photo of him posing with some of the medals before he started shipping some of them. Sorry, excuse me, as soon as he received them. If you're interested to see what they look like, please visit msoworld.com. But really, let's be honest, right? Board gamers don't come here to play for medals, right? We're here. No. We're only here to fight for pride. I'm going to take my brain and I'm going to set it against yours, and I'm going to see if I can beat the crap out of your brain using these silly spiders, using these little insect pieces. What I would like to ask you to do, Randy, on my behalf, could you please send a message out to Rise again to see if they might be interested in coming in for a winner's interview? And if
he is, and I'm trying to get him a link.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, so please use the restream. Please use the link that I sent through to you earlier. That should work for him. Just in case, I'll send this to you again.
I have it, so it should. We'll see if it goes through.
Fantastic. I thought this was that the past two Hive events have been very illustrative of a lot of the major concepts surrounding Hive, and it's a really portable game, a beautiful game. You get these little tiles in a cloth bag. It's very I'm very much a tactile gamer. I really enjoy clinking and playing with things. Very satisfying. If you've been interested in Hive, you can purchase it. It's fairly cheap. I wonder how much. Do you know how much a copy of Hive costs, Randy?
You know, I think it's like in the $25 range.
Yeah. There we go.
Here's Hive Pocket.
There's Hive Pocket.
And I'll reach in and randomly pull one out, and here's a white mosquito.
That is what the pieces look like. If you're interested in playing Hive, I would certainly recommend it. It's a great gateway drug because, like most great, fantastic games, it's very easy to learn, which I hope you picked up from the stream. The bugs all have very preset moves. It's easy to learn, but it takes a lot. There's a lot of strategic nuance, especially when you consider.
I think I might have been muted. Okay, here comes Ben.
Hey, Randy.
I think we might be having.
Alrighty. Hello there. Hello there, Ben. Hello there, Randy. Can you hear me? Hello, can you?
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
I can hear you.
Hey, Rise again. Thank you so much for a fantastic tournament. And to all of those viewers out there at the MSO, apologies for going dark with our stream for just 1 second. We've managed to get our tournament winner, Mr. Rise again, after 7 rounds of no tournament play, of no tournament rule. We've got Rise again with an undefeated record of 6 wins and 1 draw, excuse me. And we actually managed to watch your final 4 matches, Rise again. Ben, can I ask you, What is the difference between playing with the tournament rules first, where you can't play the queen first, and where you can? Because we didn't see you take advantage of choosing to play the queen first very much at all, apart from that final game.
Oh, sure. Actually, I haven't played with it first ever, so I just was relying on what other people had said, and they said it was a lot more likely for a draw, and I don't care for draws. I find them rather boring, so I try not to start with it.
Haha! And of course, you wouldn't have minded a draw in the end there, because a draw would have guaranteed your win in the tournament. Hence your decision to play queen first. Where are my manners? Where are my manners? I think we should first start off with saying congratulations. Congratulations, Rise Again, for winning the Hive tournament. Fantastic play.
Thank you.
Well, the last time I was congratulating him, he was evicting me from the World Championship. So I don't know if I should be too happy about that, Ben.
I learned it from you, Randy.
It sounds to me like the two of you might have some fighting to do. It sounds like you might have a hive bet off, a hive off. I wanted to ask you some questions about your gameplay today, Rice. So your idea of playing queens first, leading to more draws, that's certainly something which is the reason why we have that no queen first rule, why we have that tournament rule. And since then, and it's certainly in Randy's opinion. Oh, everyone's named Ben. Randy, you're named Ben as well. I just noticed that. Oh. But in Randy's opinion, with the advent of the pill bug being introduced to the game, that is no longer true, because we have more defensive options to, for example, warp away the queen. And in pill bug games, particularly pill bug first games or pill bug early games, generally, in order to mate your opponent, in order to beat your opponent, you have to neutralize that pill bug first, which then allows more opportunity to maneuver and gameplay, in which one player can turn the tides. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, if you saw me on my third move, I played a pill bug for that reason, to try to warp it away. But obviously, my opponent got on top quicker than I could defend, so it's definitely possible, but I still think that if the opponent wants to force a draw, he probably could. I'd have to play it a lot more, because I really haven't played it at all. So I'm one draw out of one game, so that's it.
I was hoping there'd be more queen first, so we could have some comparisons, but it seems like most of the top players just stuck with the regular tournament rules.
Probably lucky for me that there wasn't more.
More queen first. It's actually really interesting. You have the option in the game rules to play your queen anytime from turns 1 to 4, and yet we always see it played turns 1 and 2. A question for you, Ben: if I play my queen on turn 2 and you play your queen on turn 3, do I always beat you, or do I have a significant advantage? Does queen turn 2 always beat queen turn 3?
I don't think so. I have a lot of good players that have beaten me many times playing their queen third.
Okay. What about if we exacerbate it? What if you play queen turn 2, I play queen turn 4? Do my winning chances diminish then?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it a lot more. I've been beaten that way too, many times. It certainly is less common, so whoever starts queen 4 will probably have a little bit more of a surprise advantage.
And that's actually really beautifully said. And one of the key reasons why Hive, and actually the MSO in general, is so interesting to myself and a lot of the viewers who tune in, because there is so much untilled ground. It's so new. It's so fresh. Hive, Randy, how long has Hive been around as a competitive game? How young is the metagame?
Well, it was Hive was originally designed in the year 2000. It became online at Board Space in 2006, so 14 years online, 20 years overall. So it is a very new game.
So young, and we still have a lot of evolving strategies and different combinations that are coming up. Which is that one of the draws to why you have chosen to play this game, Ben? Do you enjoy? What are other games that you tend to enjoy playing?
This is the only one I play seriously, and most people who play me know I probably play way too much. But I enjoy most board games that are not a lot of luck involved, and this is one of them that it's skill versus skill, and one opponent versus one opponent.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, good. So you enjoy the 1 versus 1. There's a big, so one of the big draws of playing the Mind Sports Olympiad is the fact that we have something called the Pentamind World Championship, which is the search for the world's strongest board gamer across multiple disciplines. And one of the big criticisms for gamers like you is that you end up just spending 5 years in a cave honing one skill, honing a Hive. We're gonna be really, really good at Hive, and we're not going to be really. But here's the thing, right? I think that a lot of these, particularly abstract games, have similar concepts that would allow you to succeed at other abstract games, but even more so life. Have you found that? Have your skills at Hive translated into greater efficiency in your thought processes out in the real world?
There's definitely a few things that I enjoy as a benefit for my life. As a result, I'm not sure if the time spent playing is that worth it, but there's certainly things here that help me make better decisions or think through things.
Can you give me some examples? How has Hive playing allowed you to do that kind of to refine your thinking?
Yeah, I mean, just really broad. When I'm beat, I go back and look at the games that I lose, and I try to figure out one thing I could have done better to put me in a better spot every time. And sometimes I don't find it right away, but usually there is something that I do find if I look hard enough. And it's the same way in life. Like if you didn't get the result you wanted, go back, review, figure out what you could have done differently. And often, more than not, there's something out there that you could change to at least get a different outcome and probably a better outcome.
Oh man, I just got some chills. I thought that was beautifully said. That was beautifully said, Ben. That was well written. And that's actually a very common idea that we've had from a lot of the winners that we've had the great fortune of inviting into this stream. I think that's one of the beautiful things about tournaments like the Mind Sports Olympiad, getting into contact with other people who are looking to refine themselves through board games. Because at the end of the day, it's not really about the board games. It's about figuring out how to, well, for me, certainly, how to get better at Randy, I'm very aware that I'm hogging all the questions. Do you have a question for Ben yourself?
Do you think I'll ever beat you again, Ben?
Oh, definitely. Tomorrow, probably.
Stop it! You're too cute.
He's now I'll be playing against a gold medalist. I don't know whether I can do that or not.
You know, Ben, you should take your MSO medal, which will be in the post very shortly. You can take your MSO gold medal, that's some swag right there. International recognition, boom. Walk into a store, everyone comes, you get everybody's attention no matter where you go.
There you go. I'll do it.
Ben, rise again. I want to take this time to wrap things up. I'm very aware that you've spent a long time playing today. You must be tired. Thank you so much for so graciously dropping in and sharing some of your words of wisdom with not just us, but the rest of our streamers here at Mind Sports Olympiad. It's been, speaking on behalf of myself and Randy, it's been an absolute pleasure watching you navigate through this game. And we've got a little one.
Can you say hi? All right, go upstairs and play.
Hello.
Hi.
Go upstairs.
That is adorable.
Thank you.
We don't have your video on, Ben. We just see a picture.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And anyway, I'm gonna wrap things up here. From all of us here at the Mind Sports Olympiad, from all of us at Board Game Arena, from myself, Randy, and from Rise. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you are interested in fighting it out with people like Ben in tournaments like this, if you'd like to play other games, please check out msoworld.com. Registration is free. There's prize money up for the tournament, but more importantly, you might discover something new about yourself playing these games. From all of us here, thank you so much, and good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night, you guys.
Bye, guys.